But God is a little abstract at times. So how do you love God? Well, I offer this for your consideration. I believe that we love God when we make the conscious choice to choose to grow and evolve spiritually. That's how I think I can love God. By choosing of my own volition through this great gift of self-awareness that the divine has given each one of us, by saying, yes, the most important thing in my life, the most important thing, is to grow and evolve spiritually. Is that more important than my mother? Yes. Is it more important than my father? Yes. Is it more important than my friends? Yes. How and why can I say that? Because it includes and blesses and magnifies my love for all of them by making the choice to make the most important thing in my life, to grow and evolve spiritually. And in so doing, I love God first. Have you ever washed the windows in your home? Only that many? I appreciate your candor. I can tell you, I haven't washed mine in years. And if you come over, you'll see it. And of those of you who raised your hand saying, yes, I washed the windows in my home, have you washed them more than once? So what does that tell us? That washing them, getting them clear and clean once is not, it's not enough. Yes, we wash them, and we wash them again, and we wash them again. We're constantly clearing. We constantly need to be clearing and cleaning the windows of our home, the windshields of our cars. I do that more often. And we need to clear and clean the windows to our souls. You see, once we are clear on our intention, we need to keep the path to that intention clear, so we can see it, so we can be guided by it. How do we do that? I think we need a practice. A practice. You ever heard of a practice? I know who I'm talking to. And I believe we can find that practice in the words of the poet Robert Frost, who said, the easiest way, I want to get this right, it's a very short. The best way out. Talk about losing dramatic punch. The best way out is always through. The best way out is always through. Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted out? Get me out of here. I am not comfortable. I am not happy. This is not working for me. Maybe I can go through the back door. Or maybe I can go around, way around. That's not what Frost is saying. He's saying the best way out is always through. Spiritual teacher Andrew Cohen says the same thing in these words. Face everything, avoid nothing. I felt and heard an energy go through the room when Greg announced the title for the talk. I heard a lot of Pay attention to that. It is half of what this message is about. see, when we face everything and avoid nothing, it doesn't feel comfortable at first. It doesn't feel comfortable. Our ego has something to do with this fact. What's the ego? There are lots of different ways to describe it. In the context in which I'm sharing this morning, the ego is this. It's whatever is within us that comes between us and our positive change. Anything else in us that comes between us and our positive change. It's that simple. Now I know my ego has a big job. You want to know what my ego's job is? It's to preserve my self-image. My ego does a very good job. At least it can. I'm trying to put it out of work. The egos in us, they work ferociously to preserve our self-image. Has your self-image ever been questioned? Ever been challenged? Ever been threatened? And what did you do when your ego was questioned, challenged, or threatened? Your self-image. Think about just for a moment, think about your self-image. Just for a moment. Think about it and all of its pieces, parts. There are a lot of pieces, parts. At least mine has lots. So when the ego gets threatened, what does it do with those things that come before it that don't look like what it wants to see? When it encounters something that it doesn't like, that doesn't feel the way it feels, what does it do? It pushes it to the side. It pushes it way, way to the side. Hopefully so far to the side that it can't even see it. And then the ego prays. The ego prays? I think the ego prays that it even disappears. That's what the ego wants. And once the ego no longer has any of those things it doesn't like, it doesn't agree with, out of view, then it says, I'm happy. I'm happy now. Really? Are we really happy then? And if we are we really dealing with reality? And I have no problem talking about reality. This is real. What we share together is real. It's not an illusion. And it's important. And if we're going to do this life together, if we're going to walk this spiritual path together, we must find a way to keep in view anything and everything that doesn't look the way we want it to look, that isn't exactly what we like, that doesn't feel exactly the way we want it to feel. We need to face everything and avoid nothing to keep it real. Because those things we're avoiding, they're us. It's one another. And when we begin to do this, when we enter into this practice, this spiritual practice, and it is a spiritual practice, it may be the ultimate spiritual practice. At first, it may be very uncomfortable because it's so much easier to hide and avoid. But that discomfort, it does not persist. It is not forever. Because what you will begin to find as you move more deeply into this practice, you will find that you develop an inner strength that you might know that you ever had. And that inner strength is your soul strength. It is your soul strength. Because you see, your soul knows that it can face and accept everything as God faces and accepts everything. Andrew Cohen, his words, to the degree that your consciousness is freed from the ego's agenda of self-protection, to the degree that your consciousness is freed from the ego's agenda of self-protection and becomes focused on the evolutionary impulse. The evolutionary impulse, if you were with us the last couple of weeks, it's the life force in you. It is that divine spark in you. That is the evolutionary impulse. If it becomes focused on the evolutionary impulse, you will experience the emergence of your own authentic self, the nature of which is buoyant, joyful, awake, and future-oriented. See, one of the gifts of first being clear on your intention is when you're clear on that, you know the power in that knowing? The power of knowing where you want to be catapults you entirely beyond your ego. Because it brings your vision up here. And when your vision is up here, that which is down here loses its hold upon you. This, I believe, is the meaning of Jesus' words when he said, I am in this world, but not of this world. His vision was up here. It included all of this, by the way. See, when you elevate your vision, you don't have to avoid all that's down here. You don't need to avoid anything. Because your vision transcends and includes everything. Nothing gets left out. No part of you gets left behind. But your higher vision is what leads you, guides you, nourishes you, defines you. That's your authentic self. It may appear that your ego and your authentic self occupy the same time and space. They are in two different worlds. Two different worlds. Can you begin to feel the incredible lightness of your being, as you begin to face everything and avoid nothing? What profound freedom. That's the freedom we said we want. That's all. That's all. Practice would be each morning when you wake and rise, and each night before you go to sleep, elevate your vision to God in the form of your clear intention to choose to grow and evolve spiritually. Let that be your affirmation at the beginning and the end of your day. And in those middle hours of the day, keep clear the path to that heartfelt, mindful intention by facing everything, avoiding nothing. Because the authentic self that wears your face and your smile, it's worth